Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's absolute chaos in the UFC world, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got some massive news, starting with Jon Jones, who seems to be losing his mind lately. Jon Jones is furious, absolutely livid, because he feels like he's been deliberately excluded from the White House card. He's been all over social media, ranting about how he was supposedly in negotiations for a fight on this huge event, only for the UFC to pull the rug out from under him. But here's the thing, Dana White, the man himself, has a completely different story. Dana stated very clearly that Jon Jones was never, not even for a second, part of the plans for the White House card. This creates a huge discrepancy. Jones claims negotiations were happening, serious talks even, but White denies any real consideration for Jones to be on that specific event. Now, why would there be such a disconnect? Well, it all goes back to Jones's track record. He has a history of refusing fights, and one very prominent example is the alleged $30 million offer he apparently turned down to fight Tom Aspinall. The talk around the water cooler is that Jones asks for these astronomical amounts, like that $30 million, not because he actually expects to get it, but as a way to avoid fighting certain opponents, effectively putting himself into an early retirement without actually saying the words. After his refusal to fight Aspinall, the UFC's stance hardened. They became unwilling to feature Jones in major events, when he consistently showed an unwillingness to step into the octagon against challenging opponents. This background helps explain Jones's recent social media meltdown. He's been on Twitter expressing extreme frustration, feeling completely scapegoated by the organization. His posts have become increasingly dramatic, claiming he's been released from the UFC and expressing deep pain and confusion over the entire situation. It's a very public display of a fighter feeling wronged. But then, new information leaked. It turns out that Jones was, once again, asking for $30 million for a potential fight, this time against Alex Pereira. The UFC, reportedly, counter-offered with a still very generous $15 million, which Jones apparently refused. Honestly, at this point, Jones is starting to look like a bit of a joke. He keeps refusing fights, then tries to blame the UFC for his own decisions. Dana White has been consistent in his message. Jones was never part of the White House card plan. And frankly, I question if Jones truly wanted to fight Alex Pereira at that White House event anyway. It feels like a pattern. So, for now, Jones is out. And that super fight with Pereira everyone was hoping for is definitely not happening. Of course, this whole situation hasn't escaped the notice of Tom Aspinall, the current heavyweight champion. Aspinall has been subtly, and not so subtly, mocking Jones's absence from the card. Aspinall has recently aligned himself with a rival organization, and he's taking every opportunity to criticize the UFC, especially when it comes to Jones. He even made a jab, expressing surprise that Jones wasn't on the card, implying he fully expected him to be there, knowing Jones's penchant for big stages. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Now, shifting gears from the heavyweight drama, we have some unfortunate news from the lightweight division. Dana White recently announced that Islam Makhachev is injured, and there's no clear return date for him. This puts the entire lightweight division in a holding pattern once again. It feels like the division is perpetually stalled, and honestly, I'm starting to get a bit skeptical about the timing of these injuries. It seems to happen a lot around Ramadan, which makes you wonder. This isn't the first time Makhachev has had a prolonged injury. I remember after his fight with Moicano, he was out for what felt like an eternity. And now, here we are again. Another injury after a fight, leading to another extended absence. It's becoming a pattern. Before this, Makhachev also refused to fight Pereira, and there was talk about him moving up a division. Now, he's injured again. It really makes you think that a Russian champion, in many cases, seems to equal a stalled division. We saw it with the middleweight division and Chimaev, and now it's happening again with Makhachev in the lightweight division. What do you all think? Is Makhachev truly injured, or is he just waiting for Ramadan to pass? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Eventually, though, Makhachev will have to fight. There are some serious contenders waiting in the wings, like Morales, Yangari, and Carlos Prates, who are all hungry for a shot at that title. So, while he might be out for now, the challenges are definitely stacking up. Moving on, Tom Aspinall, ever the outspoken one these days, has also weighed in on the interim heavyweight title fight between Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane. He discussed it on his YouTube channel, and someone asked him why Gane was fighting Pereira instead of Jon Jones. Aspinall, who has been noticeably more vocal since signing with his new manager, didn't hold back. He even suggested a bit of psychological play, implying that Gane is somehow being rewarded for something connected to Aspinall himself. Aspinall's comments really highlight his view of the division. He flat out said the heavyweight division is a mess. He feels there aren't many big fights available right now, and he's implying that the UFC is simply making do with the limited options they have. It's clear that Aspinall wants to be the one to clean up this mess. He's made it very clear that he intends to fight the winner of the Pereira versus Gane bout. He sees that as the next logical step for him, and he's not shy about stating his intentions. Aspinall's new demeanor, this willingness to speak his mind and challenge the status quo, is a refreshing change. He's not just a fighter. He's becoming a commentator on the state of the sport, especially within his own division. His words carry weight, especially when he talks about the lack of depth and interesting matchups. He's not just calling for fights, he's calling for clarity and a clear path forward for the heavyweight division, which he believes has become stagnant. His focus is entirely on that winner, and he's not looking past it. Aspinall himself is currently waiting for medical clearance to fully resume his intensive training. He's been very open about this, stating that once his doctor gives him the green light, he will immediately return to the gym. Then, he plans to schedule his fight against the winner of the upcoming Pereira versus Gane bout. There's a clear sense of confidence in Aspinall's voice. He's just biding his time, waiting for that official word from his medical team before he makes his next move. He's not rushing anything, but he's absolutely focused on that next step. He continues to criticize the heavyweight division, reiterating his earlier point that it is a mess. He genuinely believes there's a significant lack of top contenders right now. He often brings up the departure of Ngannou, noting that Ngannou is unlikely to ever return to the UFC, which further highlights the scarcity of true talent in the heavyweight roster. This lack of depth, according to Aspinall, is a major problem for the division. It's not just about finding opponents, it's about finding compelling, high-level matchups that excite the fans and push the sport forward. However, the arrival of Alex Pereira into the heavyweight picture is seen as a breath of fresh air. Pereira brings a new, heavy name to the division, someone who generates significant interest and offers exciting new matchups. His presence injects much-needed energy into a division that Aspinall feels has become somewhat stale. Pereira's crossover appeal and his powerful striking style make him a formidable force and a potential solution to the division's current issues. Meanwhile, Dana White has been very clear about Jon Jones's status. White states that Jones is retired, a strong implication that he doesn't expect Jones to fight again. This further underscores the UFC's need for renewal, for new talent, and fresh matchups to keep the sport vibrant. The organization cannot rely on fighters who are unwilling to compete or who demand unrealistic sums. The future of the UFC depends on evolving, on showcasing new stars and exciting new fights. So, for Aspinall, the path is clear. He is confirmed to face the winner of the Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira fight. This is the match he wants, the one he believes will cement his place at the top and help bring some order to the heavyweight chaos. He sees this as his destiny, his opportunity to prove he is the undisputed champion. Now let's consider a hypothetical scenario, a truly wild thought experiment. Imagine if Alex Pereira, the man Jon Jones allegedly avoided fighting, not only beats Cyril Gane, but then goes on to defeat Tom Aspinall. Think about that for a second. Pereira, a former light heavyweight champion, moving up to heavyweight and conquering both Gane and the current champion, Aspinall. If that were to happen, if Pereira could achieve those two monumental victories, he would undoubtedly, in my strong opinion, be positioned as the greatest fighter of all time. It's a bold claim, I know, but consider the magnitude of such an achievement. To move up in weight classes, defeat top-tier opponents, and then beat the fighter that Jon Jones, a supposed legend, actively avoided fighting. That would be a narrative for the ages. It would be a testament to his skill, his bravery, and his willingness to face any challenge. It would elevate him to a status that few, if any, fighters have ever reached. The host's strong belief in Pereira's potential, should he achieve these incredible victories, is clear. It's a future that would reshape the entire landscape of combat sports.